Hello everyone, welcome to National Standard Examination in Physics 2015. An expression containing some physical quantities is 1273.43 minus 51.7052 plus 745 into 21. After evaluation, the correct answer is. Addition and subtraction is carried out in terms of number of decimal places. Coming to the procedure, count the number of decimal places in all the numbers and note down the least value, let it be n. Round off all the other numbers such that they contain n plus 1 decimal places. Carry out the algebraic operation. The final answer should contain n decimal places. So 1273.430 minus 51.705 equal to 1221.725. 1221.7 plus 745.0 gives you 1966.7. Multiplication and division is carried out in terms of number of significant figures. Rest of the procedure is same as the above. So it is 1.97 into 10 power 3 into 21 equal to 41.37 into 10 power 3, that is 4.1 into 10 power 4. A body of mass m and radius r rolling horizontally without slipping at a speed v climbs a ramp to a height 3v square by 4g. The rolling body can be. Kinetic energy of the rolling body half mv square of 1 plus k square by r square. Potential energy is mgh, that is mg into 3v square by 4g. Applying conservation of mechanical energy, k rolling equal to u, that is a half mv square of 1 plus k square by r square equal to mg 3v square by 4g, which gives us k square by r square equal to 1 by 2, indicating the object is a circular disc. A particle of mass 10 gram starts from rest at t equal to 0 from a point 0, 4 and gets accelerated at 0.5 meter per second square along x minus root 3y plus 4 root 3 equal to 0 in xy plane. The angular momentum of the particle about the origin in SI units at t equal to 2 seconds is. Angular momentum L bar equal to m times r bar cross v bar. Speed of the particle at t equal to 2 seconds. Applying v equal to u plus at, v equal to 0 plus 0.5 into 2, which is 1 meter per second. Perpendicular distance of the line from the origin, that is d equal to ax1 plus by1 plus c by root of a square plus b square. Here x1 and y1 is 0. So we get a d equal to 4 root 3 by root of 1 square plus root 3 whole square, that is 2 root 3 meter. Angular momentum of the particle mvr perpendicular, that is 10 into 10 power minus 3 into 1 into 2 root 3, that is minus 0.02 root 3 k cap. Since the particle is moving in xy plane, L is along negative z axis. A thin rod of length L in the shape of a semicircle is pivoted at one of its ends such that it is free to oscillate in its own plane. The frequency f of small oscillations of the semicircular rod is. The semicircular ring acts as a physical pendulum. Frequency of f equal to 1 by 2 pi root mgd by I. I is moment of inertia about point of suspension, that is I naught plus mx square, parallax theorem. Mr square plus mr square, which is 2 times mr square. In terms of length, it is 2m into L square by pi square. D equal to root of r square plus x square, that is root of r square plus 2r by pi whole square, which is L by pi square times root of pi square plus 4. So the frequency f equal to 1 by 2 pi root mgd by L, that is 1 by 2 pi root of mg L by pi square root of pi square plus 4 by 2m into L square by pi square, which simplifies to 1 by 2 pi root of g root pi square plus 4 by 2L. Two air bubbles with radii R1 and R2 given R2 greater than R1 formed of the same liquid stick together to form a common interface. Therefore, the radius of curvature of the common surface is. Excess pressure in the first bubble delta P1 equal to 4T by R1, that is P1 minus P0 equal to 4T by R1, which gives us P1 equal to P0 plus 4T by R1. Excess pressure in the second bubble delta P2 equal to 4t by r2, that is p2 minus p0 equal to 4t by r2, from which we have p2 equal to p0 plus 4t by r2. When the two bubbles stick to form an interface, excess pressure at the interface delta p equal to p1 minus p2, that is p0 plus 4t by r1 minus p0 plus 4t by r2. Upon simplification, we have r equal to r1 r2 by r2 minus r1. A particle executes a periodic motion according to x equal to 4 cos square 50t sin 500t. The motion can be considered to be superposition of n independent SHMs where n is. Displacement of the particle x equal to 4 cos square 50t sin 500t. X equal to 4 sin 500t of 1 plus cos 100t by 2. That is 2 sin 500t of 1 plus cos 100t. That is 2 sin 500t plus 2 sin 500t cos 100t. That is 2 sin 500t plus sin 500t plus 100t plus sin 500t minus 100t, which is ultimately x equal to 2 sin 500t plus sin 600t plus sin 400t. So the above equation contains three independent harmonic functions. Here we have used trigonometric identities. A car moving along a straight road at a speed of u meter per second applies brakes at t equal to 0 seconds. The ratio of distances travelled by the car during 3rd and 8th seconds is 15:13. The car covers a distance of 0.25 meter in the last second of its travel. Therefore, the acceleration a in meter per second square and the speed u in meter per second of the car respectively are. Speed of the car before applying brakes is u. Distance travelled in 3rd second s3 equal to u minus a into 3 minus 0.5, that is u minus 2.5 a. Distance travelled in 8th second s8 equal to u minus a into 8 minus 0.5, that is u minus 7.5 a. Taking the ratio s3 by s8 equal to u minus 2.5 a by u minus 7.5 a, that is 15 by 13. So u equal to 40 a. Time taken by the car to stop v equal to u minus 80, 0 equal to u minus 880, that is t equal to 40 seconds. Distance travelled in the last second sn equal to u minus a into n minus half, that is 0.25 equal to u minus a into n minus half, which gives a equal to 0.5 meter per second square. Initial speed of the particle u equal to 40a, that is 20 meter per second. So correct option is C. Masses m1 and m2 are connected to a string passing over a pulley as shown. Mass m1 starts from rest and falls through a distance d in time t. Now by interchanging the masses, the time required for m2 to fall through the same distance is 2t. Therefore, the ratio of masses m1 and m2 is acceleration of the system a1 equal to g times m1 minus m2 sin theta by m1 plus m2, that is g times m1 minus m2 by 2 by m1 plus m2. Distance travelled d equal to half at square, half into g times m1 minus m2 by 2 by m1 plus m2 into t square. Acceleration of the system after interchanging the masses a2 equal to m2 minus m1 sin theta by m1 plus m2, that is g times m2 minus m1 by 2 by m1 plus m2. Distance travelled d equal to half at square, that is a half g into m2 minus m1 by 2 by m1 plus m2 into 4t square. Equating both the equations, we have m1 by m2 equal to 3 by 2. When a light wave is incident at the interface between two media, the reflection coefficient is given by n minus 1 by n plus 1 whole square, where n is the refractive index of the denser medium with respect to rarer medium. Two stretched strings whose linear densities are 25 gram per meter and 9 gram per meter are joined together. Assuming the law of optics holds good here also, The reflection coefficient for the pulse along the string is speed of the transverse wave in a string v equal to root t by mu, where t is tension in the string and mu is linear density. Refractive index of the denser medium with respect to rarer medium, n equal to vr by v denser, that is root of mu denser by mu rarer, which is 5 by 3. Reflection coefficient of the pulse, n minus 1 whole square by n plus 1 whole square, that is 5 by 3 minus 1 by 5 by 3 plus 1 whole square, which is 1 by 16. A certain perfect gas occupying 1 liter at 80 cm of mercury suddenly expands to 1190 cc while the pressure falls to 60 cm of mercury. Therefore, the gas is. Sudden expansion is nothing but adiabatic process. Pressure volume relation in adiabatic process, PV power gamma equal to constant. So, P1 V1 power gamma equal to P2 V2 power gamma, that is P1 by P2 equal to V2 by V1 whole power gamma. 80 by 60 equal to 1190 by 1000 whole power gamma, which gives us gamma equal to 1.66. So the gas is monoatomic. Two thin rods of length L1 and L2 at certain temperature are joined to each other end to end. The composite rod is then heated through a temperature theta. The coefficients of linear expansion of the two rods are alpha 1 and alpha 2 respectively. Then the effective coefficient of linear expansion of the composite rod is. Increase in length of the first rod, delta L1 equal to L1 alpha delta t, that is L1 alpha theta. Increase in length of the second rod, delta L2 equal to L2 alpha delta t, that is L2 alpha theta. Total increase in length, delta L equal to delta L1 plus delta L2, L1 alpha 1 theta plus L2 alpha 2 theta, that is theta times L1 alpha 1 plus L2 alpha 2. So we can write alpha theta of L1 plus L2 equal to theta times L1 alpha 1 plus L2 alpha 2, which gives us alpha equal to L1 alpha 1 plus L2 alpha 2 by L1 plus L2. A yo-yo has a spool of mass m and radius r. A massless string is wound around an axle of radius b and of negligible mass. If the yo-yo released from rest has a downward acceleration of g by 9, the ratio r by b is. For translatory motion, mg minus t equal to ma, that is t equal to mg minus m of g by 9, that is 8 by 9 mg. For rotational motion, tau equal to I alpha, that is tension into b equal to m by 2 r square into g by 9b. So t equal to mg by 2 r square by 9b square, which gives us r by b equal to 4. A pulley of negligible mass is suspended from a spring balance. Blocks weighing 5 kg and 3 kg are attached to the two ends of a string passing over the pulley. The reading on the spring balance will be tension in the string T equal to 2 m1 m2 by m1 plus mt into g, that is 30 by 8 into g. Force on the spring F equal to 2t, that is 2 into 30 by 8 g, that comes out to be 7.5 g. So the reading of the spring balance is 7.5 kg. A uniform rod ABCDAC is bent in the shape of a kite as shown. If a point x along AC is the center of mass of the structure, then AX is. Consider a point A to be the origin and AC is along x-axis. X coordinates of the center of mass of the components AC 1 meter, AB and AD root 3 by 2 cos 30, that is 3 by 4, BC and DC 2 minus half cos 60, that is 7 by 4. So the x coordinate of the center of mass XCM equal to LAC XAC plus 2 times LAB XAB plus 2 times LBC XBC by LAC plus 2 LAB plus 2 LBC. By putting the numerical values, we have XCM equal to 1.08 meter. Two particles each of mass m and charge q are attached at the ends of a straight rod of length 2r. The rod is rotated at constant angular speed omega about an axis perpendicular to the rod passing through its center. The ratio of magnetic moment of the system to its angular momentum is. Angular momentum of the particle L equal to 2 times mr square omega. Magnetic moment of the particles m equal to 2 times I into A. that is 2 times q by t into pi r square. That comes out to be q times r square omega, ratio of magnetic moment to angular momentum m by L, q r square omega by 2 times m r square omega, that is q by 2m. A jet of water of cross-sectional area A hits a plate normally with a velocity v. The plate is moving in the direction of the jet with a velocity v. Therefore, the force exerted on the plate is proportional to force exerted by water jet on stationary surface, rho a v square. Relative velocity of the jet with respect to plate is v minus capital V. So, the force exerted by water jet on the moving plate is rho a times v minus capital V whole square. A heavy cylindrical shaft of mass capital M is driven vertically through a distance s into ground by blow of a pile driver of mass small m. The pile driver drops vertically through a distance h onto the head of the pile. The average resistance of the ground is velocity of the pile driver as it hits the pile v equal to root 2gh. Common velocity acquired by the system mv equal to m plus mv, that is capital V equal to m by m plus m of small v. We have applied conservation of linear momentum. Kinetic energy acquired by the system k equal to half of capital M plus small m into v square, that is a half of m plus m into m by m plus m whole square into v square, which comes out to be m square gh by m plus m. Applying work energy theorem, W net equal to delta K, work done by gravitational force plus work done by resistance equal to delta K, m plus m g into s minus friction force into s equal to minus m square gh by m plus m. Upon simplification, we get Fr equal to g times m square by m plus m into h by s plus m plus m. An optical fiber consists of core of refractive index n1 surrounded by cladding of refractive index n2. A ray of light enters the fiber from air at an angle theta with the fiber axis. The maximum value of theta for which the ray can propagate down the fiber is, applying Snell's law at air fiber interface, 1 into sin theta equal to n1 sin r, that is n1 sin 90 minus c. See the diagram? That is n1 cos c. Applying Snell's law at fiber cladding interface, n1 sin c equal to n2 sin 90, which gives sin c equal to n2 by n1. Cos c equal to root of 1 minus sin square c, that is 1 minus root of n2 by n1 whole square, which is root of n1 square minus n2 square by n1. From the first equation, sin theta equal to n1 cos c, n1 root n1 square minus n2 square by n1, that is root of n1 square minus n2 square. So theta equal to sin inverse root n1 square minus n2 square. Two coils wound on the same magnetic core have inductances L1 and L2. When the two coils are connected in series, the effective inductance is, self-inductance of the first coil is L1 and that of the second coil is L2. Since the coils are wound on the same magnetic core, they will have mutual inductance of M. Total inductance of the arrangement L equal to L1 plus L2 plus or minus 2M. If the current in both coils is in the same direction, it is L1 plus L2 plus 2M. If the current in coils is opposite direction, then L equal to L1 plus L2 minus 2M. So the effective inductance depends on the direction in which the current flows. A particle of mass m and charge minus q moves along the diameter of a uniform spherical charge distribution of radius capital R with a total charge plus q. The angular frequency of the periodic motion performed by the particle is, charge inside the sphere of radius x equal to q times x cube by r cube, since it is given that the charge distribution is uniform over the volume. Force between minus q and charge inside the sphere, F equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught minus q into q times x cube by r cube by x square, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught minus q by r cube into x. Here the negative sign indicates force of attraction, that is F equal to ma. So ma equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r cube into x. A equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught minus q capital Q by mr cube into x. So from where we have acceleration is proportional to negative displacement, which is the condition for simple harmonic motion. By comparing the equation with the standard equation of the simple harmonic motion, that is a equal to minus omega square x, we have omega equal to root of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by mr cube. A spherical body of mass m1 moving with speed u1 collides elastically with a lighter spherical body of mass m2 initially at rest. The maximum angle through which the heavier body gets deflected after collision depends upon. This is a little bit lengthy derivation. Let m1 be the mass of the heavy sphere and m2 be the mass of the lighter one which is initially at rest. Applying conservation of linear momentum along x-axis, m1u equal to m1 v1 cos theta 1 plus m2 v2 cos theta 2. Applying conservation of momentum along y-axis, 0 equal to m1 v1 sin theta 1 minus m2 v2 sin theta 2. Conservation of kinetic energy, half m1 u square equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square. From equation 1, cos theta 2 equal to m1 of u minus v1 cos theta 1 by m2 v2. From equation 2, sin theta 2 equal to m1 v1 sin theta 1 by m2 v2. Squaring and adding both the equations, we have 1 equal to m1 square by m2 square v2 square of u square plus v1 square minus 2u v1 cos theta 1, from which we have v2 square equal to m1 square by m2 square of u square plus v1 square minus 2u v1 cos theta 1. Substituting the value we got in equation 4 in equation 3, we have half m1 u square equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m1 of m1 square by m2 square of u square plus v1 square minus 2u v1 cos theta 1. That is cos theta 1 equal to v1 square by 2u v1 of m2 by m1 square of m1 plus m1 square by m2 minus u square by 2u v1 of m2 by m1 square of m1 minus m1 square by m2. Continuing from the previous slide, cos theta 1 equal to v1 square by 2u v1 m2 by m1 square of m1 plus m1 square by m2 minus u square by 2u v1 m2 by m1 square of m1 minus m1 square by m2. That is cos theta 1 equal to v1 by 2u of m2 by m1 plus 1 plus u by 2v1 of 1 minus m2 by m1. Let us write it as xk1 plus k2 by x. Here x is v1 by u and k1 is half m2 by m1 plus 1 and k2 is half of 1 minus m2 by m1. For maximum value of theta 1, k1 dx by d theta 1 minus k2 1 by x square dx by d theta 1 equal to 0. That is x equal to root k2 by k1. That is root of m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2. Substituting this value of x, we get theta 1 max equal to cos inverse of root of m1 minus m2 by m1 plus m2 half m2 by m1 plus 1 root of m1 plus m2 by m1 minus m2 half 1 minus m2 by m1, which is ultimately cos inverse root of m1 square minus m2 square by m1. So the maximum angle through which the first object deflects depends only on masses of the two objects. A non-conducting spherical shell of radius r surrounds a point charge q. The electric flux through a cap of the shell of half angle theta is flux through the entire surface of the sphere phi equal to q by epsilon naught. Relation between solid angle omega and semi-vertex angle theta is omega equal to 2 pi times 1 minus cos theta. Solid angle for the entire sphere is 4 pi steradian. So the flux through the cap is omega by 4 pi into phi, that is 2 pi times 1 minus cos theta by 4 pi into q by epsilon naught, which is q by 2 epsilon naught times 1 minus cos theta. In Young's double slit experiment, the intensity at a point is I where the corresponding path difference is 1/6 of the wavelength of light used. If I0 denotes the maximum intensity, then the ratio I by I0 is equal to resultant intensity at a given point on the screen in YDSE, I equal to I0 cos square phi by 2, that is I0 cos square delta x by lambda into pi in terms of path difference. You can see phi is phase difference and delta x is path difference. So I equal to I naught cos square delta x by lambda into pi, that is I naught cos square pi times lambda by 6 lambda, that is I naught cos square pi by 6. So it is 3 by 4 times I naught. So I by I naught equal to 3 by 4. A charge plus q is placed at a distance of d from point O. A conducting body surrounds point O such that q remains outside. The electric field at O due to the induced charge is net electric field inside a conductor under electrostatic conditions is 0. Field at O due to point charge E equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by d square directed away from q, that is towards left. This field should be cancelled by the induced charge so as to maintain zero field inside the conductor. So field at O due to induced charge E induced equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by d square directed towards q, that is right. Two coherent sources of light S1 and S2 equidistant from origin are separated by a distance 2 lambda as shown. They emit light of wavelength lambda. Interference is observed on a screen placed along the circle of larger radius capital R. Point P is seen to be a point of constructive interference. Then the angle theta other than 0 and 90 is. Separation between the slits d equal to 2 lambda. Path difference between the two waves delta x equal to d cos theta, that is 2 lambda cos theta. For constructive superposition, delta x path difference equal to integral multiple of lambda, that is delta x equal to n lambda. 2 lambda cos theta equal to n lambda, from which we have theta equal to 60. A polarized light is incident on a Polaroid. Let I naught be the intensity of light transmitted by this Polaroid. Now a very large number, say n of Polaroids are placed in a row with their axis displaced through a small angle theta successively. If the last Polaroid is crossed to the first one, the intensity of light transmitted by the last Polaroid is about. Intensity of light transmitted by first Polaroid I1 equal to I0. Intensity of light transmitted by the second Polaroid I2 equal to I1 cos square phi, that is I0 cos square theta. That is I0 into 1, because for small angles cos theta can be written as 1. So the intensity of light transmitted by the last Polaroid is also I0. A wire AB of length 10 cm is fixed in shape of sinusoidal curve as shown. The wire carries a current of 1.2 ampere in a uniform magnetic field of 0.1 Tesla. The wire experiences a force whose magnitude is force acting on a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field FB equal to BIL sin theta. Force on the positive part F1 equal to 0.1 into 1.2 into 2 into 10 power minus 2 into sin 90, that is 2.4 into 10 power minus 3 Newton downward. Force on the negative part F2 equal to 0.1 into 1.2 into 2 into 10 power minus 2 into sin 90, that is 2.4 into 10 power minus 3 Newton downward. So the total force is F1 plus F2, that is 4.8 into 10 power minus 3 Newton. A charge minus 2q is distributed uniformly on a spherical balloon of radius capital R. Another point charge plus q is situated at the center of the balloon. The balloon is now inflated to twice its radius, neglecting elastic energy involved in the process. The change in total electrical energy of the system is Total electrostatic energy of the system initial E1 equal to self energy plus interaction energy, that is minus 2q whole square by 8 pi epsilon naught r plus q into minus 2q by 4 pi epsilon naught r, which comes out to be 0. Total electrostatic energy of the system final E2 equal to self energy plus interaction energy, again it is minus 2q whole square by 8 pi epsilon naught 2r plus q into minus 2q by 4 pi epsilon naught 2r, which is again equal to 0. So the change in electrostatic energy of the system is 0. A rainbow is formed when a ray of sunlight passes through a spherical raindrop. Then the total angle through which the ray deviates is I and R denote the angles of incidence and refraction respectively. Refraction at A, angle of deviation delta A equal to I minus total internal reflection at B, angle of deviation delta B equal to pi minus 2R. Refraction at C, angle of deviation delta C equal to I minus R. So the total deviation delta equal to delta A plus delta B plus delta C, that is I minus R plus pi minus 2R plus I minus R, that is pi plus 2I minus 4R. A series LCR circuit is connected to an AC source of frequency F and voltage V. At this frequency, reactance of the capacitor is 350 ohm while the resistance of the circuit is 180 ohm. Current in the circuit leads the voltage by 54 degree and power dissipated in the circuit is 140 watt. Therefore, voltage V is power factor of the circuit cos phi equal to R by Z. So Z equal to R by cos phi. Power dissipated in the circuit P equal to VI cos phi, that is V into V by Z cos phi, V square by Z cos phi, that is V square by R cos square phi. From this we have V equal to root PR by cos phi, that is V equal to root of 140 into 180 by cos 54, which is 270 volt. A car has a rear view mirror of focal length 20 cm. A truck 2 meter broad and 1.6 meter in height is overtaking the car with a relative speed of 15 kmph. At the moment when the truck is 6 meter behind the car driver will see the image of the truck to be moving at a speed of. Applying mirror formula, 1 by V plus 1 by U equal to 1 by F, 1 by V minus 1 by 6 equal to 1 by 0.2, from where we have V equal to 6 by 31 meter. Differentiating the mirror formula with respect to time, minus 1 by V square dV by dt minus 1 by U square du by dt equal to 0, dV by dt equal to minus V square by U square du by dt. So dV by dt equal to 36 by 961 into 36 into 15 into 5 by 18, which is 0.0043 meter per second. In the circuit shown below, the switch is closed at t equal to 0. For 0 less than t less than R of C1 plus C2, the current I1 in the capacitor C1 in terms of total current I is, since the capacitors are connected in parallel, potential drop across them is the same. So V1 equal to V2, Q1 by C1 equal to Q2 by C2, I1 by C1 equal to I2 by C2. Here I is dQ by dt. Applying Kirchhoff's current law, I equal to I1 plus I2, see the circuit, I2 equal to I minus I1. So I1 equal to C1 by C2 into I2, that is C1 by C2 into I minus I1. That is C1 by C2 into I minus C1 by C2 into I1. So I1 of 1 plus C1 by C2 equal to C1 by C2I, from which we have I1 equal to C1 by C1 plus C2 into I. The earth is getting energy from sun whose surface temperature is Ts and radius capital R. Let the radius of the earth be small r and the distance from the sun be d. Assume the earth and sun both behave as perfect black bodies and earth is in thermal equilibrium with the constant temperature Te. Therefore, the temperature Ts of the sun is x times Te, where x is. Since the earth is in thermal equilibrium, power received equal to power radiated. So power radiated is sigma A Te power 4, that is sigma 4 pi r square Te power 4. Intensity of solar radiation I equal to power by area. So P by 4 pi d square. Sigma 4 pi r square Ts power 4 by 4 pi d square, that is sigma r square Ts power 4 by d square. Power received by the earth is I into A, that is sigma r square Ts power 4 by d square into pi r square. For thermal equilibrium, sigma 4 pi r square Te power 4 equal to sigma r square Ts power 4 by d square into pi r square, from which we have Ts equal to Te times root 2d by r. Imagine an atom made up of a proton and a hypothetical particle of double the mass as that of an electron but the same charge. Apply Bohr's theory to consider transitions of the hypothetical particle to the ground state, then the longest wavelength in terms of Rydberg constant for hydrogen atom is. Longest wavelength is obtained when the electron jumps from 2 to 1. 1 by lambda equal to r times 1 by n initial square minus 1 by n final square. So it is r of 1 by 1 minus 1 by 4, that is 3r by 4. Expression for Rydberg constant r equal to me e power 4 by 8 epsilon naught square h cube c, from where we have Rydberg constant is directly proportional to mass of electron. As the hypothetical particle is double the mass of the electron, Rydberg constant is also doubled. So 1 by lambda equal to 3 by 4 times 2r, that is lambda equal to 2 by 3r. The half-life period of a radioactive element X is the same as the mean life of another radioactive element Y. Initially both of them have the same number of atoms then. Half-life of the radioactive element T equal to 0.693 by lambda X. Mean life of the radioactive element tau equal to 1 by lambda Y. Initially both materials have same number of atoms. So n0 x equal to n0 y, given t equal to tau, that is 0.693 by lambda x equal to 1 by lambda y, lambda x by lambda y equal to 0.693, that is lambda x equal to 0.693 lambda y. Rate of decay r equal to lambda n, that is r proportional to n. So y will decay at a larger rate than x. A sodium atom emits a photon of wavelength 590 nanometer and recoils with a velocity v equal to. Momentum of the photon emitted by the sodium atom p equal to h by lambda, that is 6.63 into 10 power minus 34 by 590 into 10 power minus 9, 1.12 into 10 power minus 27 kg meter per second. Mass of the sodium atom m equal to 23 gram per mole, that is 23 into 10 power minus 3 by 6.023 into 10 power 23, that is 3.81 into 10 power minus 26 kg. Momentum of the sodium atom m into v, 3.81 into 10 power minus 26 v. Applying conservation of momentum, 1.12 into 10 power minus 27 equal to 3.81 into 10 power minus 26 v, from where we have v equal to 0.029 meter per second. A practical diode PN junction type when forward biased is equivalent to. An ideal diode offers zero resistance in forward bias and infinite resistance in reverse bias. A practical diode offers minimum resistance in forward and maximum resistance in reverse. So the forward bias majority charge carriers move from either side, giving maximum current, that is closed switch. The potential barrier at the junction of the diode acts as a cell. So the correct option is D. The circuit shown below is equivalent to. The switch provides zero resistance path. The two switches are connected in parallel to the bulb. When either of the switch is closed, the current will flow through the closed switch. So the bulb will glow only when both the switches are open. So for digital logic, closed switch is 1 and open switch is 0. When both inputs are 0, output is 1. In all other cases, output is 0. So the circuit represents NOR gate. Which one of the following statements in connection with a semiconducting material is not correct? Let us see the statements one by one. Semiconductors have negative temperature coefficient of resistance. Their resistance decreases with increase in temperature. So this is correct statement. Forbidden gap of semiconductors is less than that of insulators and more than that of conductors. So statement 2 is also correct. Two types of charge carriers are there, that is electrons and holes. Both contribute electric current in semiconductors. So statement C is also correct. Silicon and germanium are tetravalent atoms. There are other semiconducting materials, that is elemental as well as compound semiconducting materials. So statement D, according to which every semiconducting material is a tetravalent element, is wrong. Generally, light emitted from a source contains several wavelengths. Similarly, the electrical voltage at the output of a sensor contains a mixture of DC and several AC components of different amplitudes and different frequencies. Filter circuits are used to pass desired frequencies and or to eliminate undesired frequencies. The frequencies transmitted by the filter form the pass band, while the frequencies eliminated by the filter form the stop band or rejection band. We can think of four basic types of electrical filters. A low pass filter where frequencies below certain cutoff level are passed. Similarly, one can think of a high pass filter, band pass filter and band stop filter. The cutoff frequency Fc is the frequency at which the output voltage falls to 1 by root 2 times the maximum value. An inductor and or a capacitor is an essential component of a filter. Generally, a resistance is included in a filter circuit to determine the time constant and hence cutoff frequency. Refer to the RC networks 1 and 2 shown below. Which of the following statements is true? Each of the two networks represent a low pass filter. Each of the two networks represents a high pass filter. Network 1 represents a low pass filter while network 2 represents a high pass filter. Network 1 represents a high pass filter while network 2 represents a low pass filter. High pass filter allows high frequency signals and blocks low frequency signals. Low pass filter allows low frequency signals and blocks high frequency signals. Reactance of the capacitor X is equal to 1 by 2 pi Fc, that is inversely proportional to frequency of the supply. So the capacitor offers maximum opposition to low frequency signals. From this we can conclude that network 1 represents a high pass filter while network 2 represents a low pass filter. The input-output voltage relation for certain high-pass filter is given by V0 by Vin equal to omega CR by root of 1 plus omega square C square R square. The cutoff frequency Fc for this filter will be output voltage V0 equal to R by root of R square plus XC square into Vi, that is R by root of R square plus 1 by omega C whole square into Vi. V0 equal to omega RC by root of 1 plus omega square C square R square into Vi. From there V0 by Vi equal to omega CR by root of 1 plus omega square C square R square. At cutoff frequency V0 equal to 1 by root 2 times Vi, that is V0 by Vi whole square equal to 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 equal to omega CR whole square by 1 plus omega square C square R square, from where we have omega equal to 1 by RC, that is F equal to 1 by 2 pi RC. The input-output voltage relation for certain circuit is given by V0 by Vin equal to omega beta A by root of omega 1 square minus omega square whole square beta square plus omega square beta square, where omega is angular frequency of the input while omega 1, A and beta are constants. The relation is meant for. Given V0 by Vin equal to omega beta A by root of omega 1 square minus omega square whole square beta square plus omega square beta square, which can be written as V0 by Vin equal to omega beta A by omega beta of 1 by root of omega 1 square by omega square minus 1 whole square plus 1, that is A by root of omega 1 square by omega square minus 1 whole square plus 1. From the expression we can see the output is maximum when omega equal to omega 1. On either side of omega 1 the output reduces, so the transfer function represents a band pass filter. Refer to the following schematic diagrams of different combinations of a low pass filter and high pass filter. Assume F1 is less than F2. The combination that works as band pass filter is: band pass filter allows a certain range of frequencies. A series combination of low pass filter and high pass filter can be used as a band pass filter. Consider the second circuit. LPF allows all frequencies below F2 HPF allows all frequencies above F1. So effectively the circuit allows frequencies between F1 and F2, that is F2 minus F1. So the correct option is 2. Refer to the following schematic diagrams of different combinations of low pass filter and a high pass filter. Assume F1 is less than F2. The combination that works as band elimination filter is. An astrophysicist desires to study radiation at wavelengths higher than those for visible light coming from certain celestial body. He must use an optical filter, that is, speed of electromagnetic radiation C equal to wavelength into frequency. Since speed is constant, wavelength is proportional to 1 by frequency. The astrophysicist desires to study radiation at wavelengths higher than those for visible light. So the frequency should be less than that of visible radiation. So he should be using a low pass filter which allows frequencies less than certain cutoff frequency. Figure A below shows an acoustical filter that consists of a set of identical cavities connected by narrow tubes, and figure B shows the electrical analog. The acoustical filter represented by figure A is inductive reactance XL equal to omega L, that is 2 pi FL. Capacitive reactance XC equal to 1 by omega C, that is 1 by 2 pi FC. Inductor allows low frequency signals and capacitor allows high frequency signals. So only low frequency signals are allowed to appear across the output. So the given circuit acts as a low pass filter. Graphs 1, 2, 3 and 4 shown below represent the frequency response of different types of filter circuits. The correct order of these graphs corresponding to low pass, high pass, band pass and band stop filters is. So we have already discussed in detail about different types of filters in the earlier questions. You can see the graphical representation. Low pass filter is 4, high pass filter is 2, band pass filter is 3 and band stop filter is 1. So the correct order is 4, 2, 3, 1. Equal volumes of two liquids L1 and L2 are taken in two identical calorimeters. Both L1 and L2 are initially at about 80 degrees centigrade. Calorimeters From the graph, it can be said that Newton's law of cooling is not valid. Specific heat of L2 is greater than that of L1. The observations recorded are not consistent. None of the above statements is correct. Newton's law of cooling, theta equal to theta naught plus theta initial minus theta naught e power minus bt by mc. The given graphs are representing the equation. Time taken by liquid 1 to cool from theta 1 to theta 2 is 2.5 minutes. Time taken by liquid 2 to cool from theta 1 to theta 2 is 1.9 minutes. So the second liquid cools faster than the first one. So its specific heat capacity should be less. From the shape of the graph, we can conclude that it is consistent with Newton's law of cooling. So the observations recorded are also consistent with the Newton's law of cooling. Equal volumes of two liquids are necessary so that heat contents of the liquids are equal, the exposed surface areas are equal, the calculations are simplified, none of the above. The two calorimeters are identical. If volume of the liquids is also same, it offers equal surface area for both the liquids. So the correct option is B. The nature of outer surfaces of the calorimeters should be blackened and rough, should be silvered and rough, should be silvered and polished, could be arbitrary. Since both the calorimeters are identical, any change in parameters is going to affect the observations in same manner for both the calorimeters. So the outer surfaces could be arbitrary. Which of the following arrangements would be the ideal environment for two calorimeters? A double-walled box, both inner and outer space filled with water, A double-walled box with water in the inner box and empty outer box. A double-walled box with water in the outer box and empty inner box. In air without any box. A double-walled box with water in the outer box and empty inner box is an ideal environment for calorimeters. This arrangement maintains constant temperature for the surroundings. Since the specific heat capacity of water is large, its temperature remains the same throughout the experiment. So theta naught is maintained constant. You can see the diagram for an idea. The two curves will intersect at some later time, merge after a long time, remain separate at all times, be parallel to x-axis but distinct after long time. The two liquids will attain same temperature, that is surrounding room temperature, after a long time. So the two curves will merge after a long time. Given mass of L1 equal to 50 gram and mass of L2 equal to 62.5 gram, if water equivalent of calorimeters is assumed to be negligible, then S1 by S2 equals. Applying Newton's law of cooling, theta 1 minus theta 2 by T equal to K times theta 1 plus theta 2 by 2 minus theta naught. Theta 1 minus theta 2 by 2.5 equal to K1 times theta 1 plus theta 2 by 2 minus theta naught for L1. Theta 1 minus theta 2 by 1.9 equal to K2 times theta 1 plus theta 2 by 2 minus theta naught for L2. Taking the ratio of the two expressions, we have K1 by K2 equal to 1.9 by 2.5. The proportionality constant K is proportional to 1 by ms. So K1 by K2 equal to M2 S2 by M1 S1, that is 62.5 S2 by 50 S1. So S1 by S2 equal to 1.64. If ρ1 and ρ2 are the densities of L1 and L2 respectively, then identify the correct statements. From the previous question, we can write M2 S2 by M1 S1 equal to 1.9 by 2.5. That is M2 S2 by M1 S1 equal to V ρ2 S2 by V ρ1 S1. Here we have written mass equal to volume into density. So ρ2 by ρ1 equal to S1 by S2 into 1.9 by 2.5. That is 1.64 into 1.9 by 2.5, which is 1.24, indicating that ρ1 is less than ρ2. So the correct option is B. If the experiment is carried out with equal masses of the two liquids, then L1 will cool faster, L2 will cool faster, both the liquids will cool at the same rate. Insufficient data. Applying Newton's law of cooling, d theta by dt equal to minus k times theta minus theta naught. For a given temperature difference, rate of cooling depends on k. K is proportional to 1 by ms. Given mass of the two liquids is equal, so k is proportional to s. S1 is greater than S2 from question number 57. So K1 is less than K2. So L2 will cool faster. The entire experiment is repeated with other two liquids having nearly same specific heats. Then the two curves will be coincident, the two curves will be parallel, the two curves will intersect at a point. Insufficient data. Newton's law of cooling, dq by dt equal to minus b times theta minus theta naught. mc d theta by dt equal to minus b times theta minus theta naught. From there d theta by dt equal to minus b by mc times theta minus theta naught. Rearrange the terms and integrate to obtain theta equal to theta naught plus theta initial minus theta naught of e power minus b by mc, where theta is instantaneous temperature, theta is surrounding temperature, theta initial is initial temperature, t is time. Which of the following are the units of magnetic field? Magnetic field induction is force acting per unit pole strength, that is F by M. Magnetic field induction is magnetic flux per unit normal area, that is phi by A. Option B from first definition of magnetic field. Option C from second definition of magnetic field. Option A, Weber per meter square is also taken as Tesla in the honor of Nikola Tesla. Option D can be verified from dimensional analysis. So, all options are correct. The inductance of a solenoid varies directly as the area of cross section, directly as a square of number of turns, inversely as length of the solenoid, directly as the volume enclosed by the solenoid. Self-inductance of a solenoid L equal to mu naught N square S by L, that is also can be written as mu naught N square V. Here capital N is the number of turns in the solenoid, S is area of cross section, L is length of the solenoid, small n is number of turns per unit length, and V is volume enclosed by the solenoid. From the formula we can see all four options are correct. With the rise of temperature, surface tension of water decreases, viscosity of water decreases, viscosity of air decreases, viscosity of air increases. Surface tension is due to molecular forces of attraction. With increase in temperature, these forces weaken, thus reducing the surface tension. Viscosity of liquid is also due to cohesive forces acting between different layers of the liquid as it is flowing. With increase in temperature, these forces also weaken, thus reducing viscosity. Viscosity of gases is due to transfer of momentum between gas molecules. With increase in temperature, the speed of gas molecules increases, thus increasing their momentum, which in turn increases the viscosity of the gas. So options A, B and D are correct. Which of the following statements are correct in case of source of EMF such as a primary cell? Inside the cell, there always exists an electrostatic field and a non-electrostatic field of equal magnitude directed opposite to it. The potential difference is the work of an electrostatic field, whereas electromotive force is the work of a non-electrostatic field. Under certain conditions, current can flow from positive terminal to negative terminal within the cell. When an external resistance is connected to the cell, the electrostatic field inside the cell decreases in magnitude compared to the non-electrostatic field. Non-electrostatic field is created by internal battery mechanisms. Electrostatic field is created due to charge accumulation in the battery terminals. EMF is the work done on unit positive charge by non-electrostatic force of the battery. Potential difference is the work done per unit charge by electrostatic force of the battery. For a charging battery, the current flows into the positive terminal, and for a discharging battery, the current flows out of the positive terminal. When an external resistance is connected to the cell, the free electrons in the wire move from negative terminal to positive terminal. Due to this, the magnitude of positive charge decreases on positive terminal and magnitude of negative charge decreases on the negative terminal, thus decreasing the potential difference across the terminals. Which of the following statements are correct in case of resistance in a resistance box used in laboratory? The resistance is prepared using tungsten or nichrome wire. The resistance is prepared using manganese wire. Half of the length of the resistance wire is wound clockwise and the remaining half in anti-clockwise direction just to accommodate the whole length of the wire in a small space. Half of the length of the resistance wire is wound in clockwise and the remaining half in anti-clockwise direction to make inductive effect 0. Options B and D are correct here. As we know, manganese is an alloy whose temperature coefficient of resistance is very low. So the resistance becomes almost independent of temperature. When half of the wire is wound in clockwise and the other half in anti-clockwise, the current in both parts flows in opposite directions. This will cancel the magnetic effect created by the flowing current, thus giving only resistance in the resistance box. An object and a screen are separated by distance capital D. A convex lens of focal length f such that 4f is less than d is moved between the object and the screen to get two sharp images. If the two positions of the lens are separated by distance L, then applying lens formula 1 by V minus 1 by U equal to 1 by F, 1 by V1 plus 1 by U1 equal to 1 by F for first position, 1 by V2 plus 1 by U2 equal to 1 by F for the second position. Since the separation between screen and the object is d, we can write v equal to d minus u. So the lens formula becomes 1 by d minus u plus 1 by u equal to 1 by f, from which we have a quadratic in u square minus du plus fd equal to 0. Finding the roots, u equal to d plus or minus root of d square minus 4df by 2. So it is u equal to d by 2 plus root of d square minus 4df by 2 or d by 2 minus d square minus 4df by 2. From these expressions we can also find the image distance v, that is d minus u, that comes out d by 2 minus root of d square minus 4df by 2 or d by 2 plus root of d square minus 4df by 2. Now coming to the options one by one. Option A, separation between the two positions of the lens is L. u2 minus u1 is the separation between the two positions of the lens, that is d by 2 plus root of d square minus 4df by 2 minus d by 2 plus root of d square minus 4df by 2. Upon simplification, that comes out to be root of d minus 4f. So option A is correct. Coming to option B, object distance in one position is numerically equal to image distance in the other position, which can be easily verified from u1, u2 and v1, v2 values. So option B is also correct. A transistor PNP or NPN can be used as an amplifier, an oscillator, a switch or a current source. Amplifier increases the strength of a weak input signal. Oscillator generates high frequency signals, that is from low or DC signals. We can generate high frequency signals using oscillators. A switch allows or does not allow the electrical signals in the circuit. We are talking about transistor acting as an electronic switch. So it will act as an electronic switch. It is in switch on condition in saturation region and switch off condition in cutoff region. A transistor also acts as a constant current source. The circuit representations of all the four devices is given in the next frame. Take your time to go through these circuits. Of course, these are not necessary at this level. These are only given for the purpose of reference. You will analyze these circuits at engineering level. When photons each with energy 4.25 electron volt strike the surface of metal A, the photoelectrons given out have maximum kinetic energy Ta and the corresponding de Broglie wavelength is lambda A. When another metal surface B is irradiated with photons each with energy 4.7 electron volt, the corresponding maximum kinetic energy is Tb, which is 1.5 electron volt less than Ta. If de Broglie wavelength lambda B of these photoelectrons is twice that of lambda A, then applying Einstein's photoelectric equation E equal to 5 plus K max for metal A 4.25 to 5A plus Ta, that is de Broglie wavelength lambda equal to h by root of 2m Ta. For metal B 4.7 equal to 5B plus Tb, that is 5B plus Ta minus 1.5. 6.2 equal to 5B plus Ta, lambda B equal to 2 times lambda A, that is h by root of 2m Tb. From de Broglie wavelength relation we have Ta equal to 4 times Tb, Given TB equal to TA minus 1.5, so TB equal to 4 times TB minus 1.5, that gives TB equal to 0.5 electron volt and TA equal to 2 electron volt. Work function of metal A, phi A equal to 4.25 minus 2, that is 2.25 electron volt. Work function of metal B, phi B equal to 4.7 minus 0.5, that is 4.2 electron volt. Wavelength of incident radiation on A, lambda A equal to 1240 by 4.25, that is 292 nanometer. So A, C, D are correct options.